It's Pro Bowl week, and as cool as that is or isn't in your opinion, I think it's time that we talked about our NFL honors predictions for the year, a nice little bite-sized appetizer for next week's Super Bowl video.
Perfect.
So yeah, pretty simple, self-explanatory. This week, instead of covering some crazy Pro Bowl stuff that isn't terribly interesting, I wanted to at least give you a bite-sized video that's going to talk about my NFL predictions for the NFL honors. We have a number of awards to give away this season. After an incredibly interesting season, let's just run through it. Starting things off with our Defensive Rookie of the Year, my pick for this award is going to be Sauce Gardner, the cornerback for the New York Jets. Being named to the All-Pro team is an absolutely huge honor. The only rookie, at least the defensive rookie, that was able to do so. So, in my opinion, you're named to the All-Pro team. That's pretty much as close of a lock as you're possibly going to get for an award, at least of this kind, the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Sauce Gardner stepped in after being a first-round pick for the New York Jets and became a pretty much instant lockdown corner for Robert Saleh's defense, was basically making a name for himself pretty early and set himself up to be a future franchise cornerstone. If he can keep up this level of performance for years to come, I think the Sauce Gardner pick was great for the Jets, has a lot of great size, talent, and ability, and he's been able to showcase that pretty much all season. So a bright future ahead in the Defensive Rookie of the Year for Sauce Gardner, at least in my opinion. Next award up, the Offensive Rookie of the Year, an award that doesn't have as close of a clear-cut winner for this season, really. I mean, you've got guys like Chris Olave from the New Orleans Saints, Garrett Wilson from the New York Jets as well. You also got Brock Purdy, who stepped in, had a huge part in the San Francisco 49ers season, almost making it to the Super Bowl. However, my winner, my pick for the Offensive Rookie of the Year is going to be running back Kenneth Walker from the Seattle Seahawks. After Rashad Penny went down pretty early, Walker stepped in and was a pivotal piece for a Seattle Seahawks offense that lives really off of its ability to establish the running game. Walker stepped in and had a terrific season, over 1,000 rushing yards, 9 rushing touchdowns, over 25 catches, as well as over 100 yards receiving on the season. He was an absolutely workhorse level back for the Seattle Seahawks, complemented very well the high-level passing attack that the Seattle Seahawks brought to the table this year, along with Geno Smith, who had a resurgent season for the veteran quarterback. But Kenneth Walker played an absolutely huge part in this season. I think Kenneth Walker, among the number of candidates that were eligible for this, is going to be the one to take home the trophy. For our NFL Coach of the Year winner, I mean, you've got a number of great candidates for this award this year. You've got Doug Peterson, who turned around the Jacksonville Jaguars, made them a playoff team this past season. Of course, you've also got Kyle Shanahan, who weathered multiple quarterback injuries. You've also got, of course, the winner, honestly, Brian Daboll. That's going to be my pick. I picked Brian Daboll to be the NFL Coach of the Year. Turned around a Giants team that, very similar to the Jacksonville Jaguars, had its struggles over the last few years. Key players not staying as healthy. And honestly, I think Daboll might have been working with a little bit less talent from an all-around roster perspective, but they nailed the draft, getting Kayvon Thibodeau and Neal. You've also got Daniel Jones, who stepped up major for these New York Giants in the running attack. The resurgence of Saquon Barkley. These Giants also went into the playoffs and won a playoff game after a 9-7-1 season where they were very competitive pretty much the entire stretch of the year. I think Brian Daboll had an absolutely magnificent performance for these New York Giants, and as long as they continue to trend in this direction, man, the New York Giants are going to be something special. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of New York, out of the G-Men's facilities. So, Brian Daboll, my pick for the NFL Coach of the Year. Now, the NFL Comeback Player of the Year. I think among a number of very good candidates for this award, none other than Saquon Barkley takes home the gold, so to speak. After a fantastic resurgent season where he put up 1,300 rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns, 57 receptions on 338 receiving yards. He helped the Giants very much so, like Brian Daboll, back to the playoffs, their first playoff victory since 2011 when they won the Super Bowl, their first playoff appearance since 2016. The New York Giants would not have been able to do it without Saquon Saquon Barkley. Had a huge year, a resurgent year for a guy that was absolutely special. His rookie season dealt with injuries through the course of a couple of seasons, really, and then having a monster performance this year. My tip of the cap goes to Saquon Barkley among a number of very deserving candidates. The Defensive Player of the Year award, I mean, you had a few options here. You had Nick Bosa, who led the NFL in sacks at 18.5. You had Chris Jones, who had a very strong season at 15.5 sacks for the Kansas City Chiefs. But my nod for the Defensive Player of the Year, which, who knows? I mean, any three of these guys could be very deserving candidates, but it's going to be Micah Parsons from the Dallas Cowboys. 13.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, but what makes him even more special, in my opinion, is his ability to stand up and also play coverage, his ability to take away passing lanes and be a real factor, and not just the pass rushing side, the rushing attack side, but the passing game as well. Is a multifaceted defender that really is the cornerstone for the Dallas Cowboys at present. I mean, that entire defense really shifts and moves based on the ability of Micah Parsons to create pressure and destroy opposing quarterbacks. Single-handedly beat the Cincinnati Bengals early in the season, was on a tear early in the year, and honestly was still a major factor throughout the entire Dallas Cowboys season. A future piece for this team as well. I think this could very well be the year that he snags the Defensive Player of the Year. And now the Offensive Player of the Year. This one, in my eyes, goes to wide receiver Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings. Somebody I actually called, in my opinion, correctly as a Offensive Player of the Year candidate going into this upcoming season. Way back in the offseason, like 20 weeks ago, I figured Justin Jefferson could very well be in line to win Offensive Player of the Year. I feel still very strongly about that after he led the NFL in receptions and receiving yards. 128 catches, 1,800 plus receiving yards, 9 receiving touchdowns, and really was the engine for the Minnesota Vikings offense. Among another of other improvements around the team, the real heart and soul, the big play maker was Justin Jefferson. Made some mind-boggling catches this year in the clutch. The key catch of the year, really, against the Buffalo Bills, where he somehow brought it in against 2 defenders falling backwards. This dude is insanely talented. He's a freak athlete, and Justin Jefferson, Offensive Player of the Year, at least in my eyes. And last, but certainly not least, my pick for the NFL MVP award is going to be none other than Pat Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs, the quarterback leading his team back to the #1 seed in a very competitive AFC. Not just that, leading his team back to the Super Bowl against these Philadelphia Eagles. Going to be an incredibly exciting matchup here in a couple weeks, but also some mind-boggling numbers after losing wide receiver Tyreek Hill, another all-pro level talent. Had a fantastic season, did Mahomes. 41 passing touchdowns to just 12 interceptions, 5,250 passing yards. Along with that, you've also got a QBR of 105.2, 358 rushing yards, as well as 4 rushing touchdowns. I mean, Patrick Mahomes had an absolutely monster season this year. I don't think there's many people that would deny that. And in my personal opinion, he's the NFL MVP. Simple, straightforward, that's it. So we got a lot to look forward to, obviously, next week. If you're familiar with my content, you've been watching for years, I've got a really exciting Super Bowl video to put together for you guys next year to cap off the final week of the NFL season, leading all the way up to this moment. I'm really excited. The Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, and of course, you've got Jalen Hurts, 2 NFL MVP candidates. You've also got the return of the resurgence of Andy Reid taking on his former organization for so long, brought them to a Super Bowl, multiple NFC championships, and then making the switch over to obviously the Kansas City Chiefs. You've got the battle of the brothers, so to speak. You've got Jason and Travis Kelce squaring off. One of these guys is going to get a ring, both of which already have rings, some very storied and Hall of Fame level careers already. Just waiting to add just an extra piece of jewelry to that story. I mean, honestly, an incredibly exciting matchup. We've got a lot of great just position battles as well. Who has the edge? Who's going to be better? Honestly, I can't wait to see it. I'm really looking forward to the Super Bowl. And thank you so much for watching this video. Of course, feel free to stick around and watch some more content. like, comment, share, subscribe, and of course get the bell on to know every time I'm dropping a video. I'll definitely stick around and watch that video next week. And of course, thank you so much again for watching. My name is Tristan Blake Rines. I'll catch you in the next one.